Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Secret Level Podcast, Episode 5. I'm here with Joe.
Hey, everyone.
And Tom.
What's up?
And we're going to talk about games.
No, we're not. Talk about football. Tony Romo got a ridiculous deal. No one wants to talk about football?
The fucks that I could give.
Yeah, I don't even know who football is.
Okay, anyways. So we're going to talk about GDC. The Game Developers Conference?
It's like, oh, Joe's going to talk about GDC while we listen.
All right, Joe.
No one else was moving the conversation forward.
All right. Well, what was the coolest thing that you took away from the show, just from what you see in the coverage?
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Joe on that one.
Is it one game or is it two games?
It's officially 2 games.
It is.
It's 2 games.
Oh.
Together they can...
You all laugh
you
when
made it
I
to-
say, oh, it's totally 2 games.
But like at the time, it was very confusing. Like when
Tony, 2
when
games.
they made the first announcement, because it wasn't sure. And then later, Hideo Kojima did a interview with Jeff Keighley, and he elaborated there that it is 2 different games, and together they make Metal Gear Solid 5. How they're going to be distributed, though, is completely unknown at the time.
What I'm thinking is that Phantom Pain is going to be current gen.
No, Ground Zeroes is coming out first.
No, but here's where I'm confused.
No, Ground Zeroes happens first. Phantom Pain happens 9 years after.
Here's what I'm confused about. They showed the footage, and just graphically, maybe, I was just missing a few things. Graphically, Ground Zeroes looked a little bit more impressive than
Because I think
Phantom
Ground Zeroes
Pain
is
did.
closer to being done. I think they probably started on Ground Zeroes first, and then Phantom Pain has been being worked on. But I think Ground Zeroes is actually closer to completion. I think that's why we see it a leap. And the fact that they didn't say PlayStation 4 and obviously other next-gen consoles.
I'm thinking maybe they're just waiting for Microsoft to make their announcement before they confirm it, because I don't see why this wouldn't come to next gen.
Which is why EA was so sketchy, too, when they announced Battlefield 4 during the week. It took people, to basically pry it out of them that it was coming to PlayStation 4. In early things, they only said 360, PC, and PS3. And then they had to, pry it out of them that it was also coming to PS4.
Boy,
And I think, that's, the same thing happened with this game. It wasn't... They're not... For some reason, they're just refusing to talk.
I think one cool thing about Metal Gear that's kind of getting overlooked is this is the first main numbered Metal Gear entry that is right away coming to Xbox 360.
It would be cool if they did something with Metal Gear Solid 4, because the fans are going to miss that game.
That makes me mad.
That's what I'm
Metal Gear
thinking
Solid
they
4
should
isn't
do.
gonna be on Xbox.
They'll probably do something.
I think they have to bundle it in, because I think you can't... You give people 2 and 3 and Peace Walker, and you're going to give them 5, but you're not going to give them 4, which is arguably the best.
It probably needs to have a lot of work done on it.
I think
it
would have to be scaled down.
I don't think it would have to be
coming out on next generation too. Well, if it was coming out, yeah, okay,
for the Xbox 360.
Obviously, it'll need to be reworked in the type of architecture it supports, because Sony's destroyed almost this entire generation of ports
with their cell architecture. If a game wasn't made specifically for Sony for the PlayStation 3,
then it came out like crap.
Yeah,
pretty much.
It came out like crap on the system.
Yeah, and they did if you probably saw it, there's a nice long 5-minute trailer that goes to this entire song.
It's a song by Garbage. I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
I don't like Garbage at all.
I like the song. I like that one song they picked. Maybe if I had listened to it on the radio by itself.
That was the song that played over the Metal Gear Solid 5 trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like it.
I mean, it was kind of a weird pick, like Garbage. You think they would have picked something a little bit more, maybe traditional, in a sense, like maybe some traditional Japanese music or something?
Starting to see some sort of trend where games are picking songs that are completely irrelevant to the game and the action, like Dead Space 3 and
Bioshock Infinite,
Bioshock
with the
Infinite.
Beast of America trailer.
And
that made me love that song, though. I have that.
I mean,
song
it's a
on my
cool
iPod
song, but I don't think, especially after playing, we'll talk about Bioshock later, but especially just after playing Bioshock, I don't think the song really fits with the game or with the trailer.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. But this trailer was really nice. I mean, it really showed off what the Fox engine could do for the in-game footage for the first time. I mean, we saw Ground Zeroes last summer, but I mean that was only a little bit, and then whatever they showed a little demo of the early beginnings of the Phantom Pain.
This was mostly just footage from what we've already seen in Phantom Pain and what we've already seen from Ground Zeroes, with a little bit of new footage thrown in. Most of the new footage was from Phantom Pain, then there was one extra little bit from Ground Zeroes. However, I will say that the Fox engine looks fantastic.
Yeah,
That looks
It
amazing.
looks like a next gen engine.
Exactly.
yeah. Like what I watched the trailer for the first time a few days ago, obviously, and they had a bunch of things which I didn't understand. Then I started playing Peace Walker, the Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, and immediately like I knew who two different characters were, and it kind of explained a lot of the set pieces from the trailer itself. Like in
Does
early,
it explain the whale?
no,
Okay.
Well,
then
I
don't
think
care.
that's just. I think that might be the boss, big boss hallucinating. I think that's where the whale comes into play.
hallucinating fire whales.
and
Not just hallucinating, like maybe like an illusion or something.
I had this weird theory that Ground Zeroes you're gonna play as Big Boss, and I think the reason David Hayter is not a voice actor in this one, which they have confirmed now, David Hayter's not gonna be in it, or I think he might be, but that's a whole nother thing. I think you play as someone completely different in Phantom Pain.
Oh, I agree with you. I
I
think
thought you were playing as like Solid Snake.
that was my
He looks a little
one
too,
of my guesses.
he would
I
have
thought
been
they said that it was Solid Snake.
no.
Oh,
They kept saying no. They haven't confirmed, but
See, my problem is like I know a lot about like Metal Gear after basically from Metal Gear to Metal Gear 2, the Acid games and Metal Gear 4. I played Metal Gear Solid 3, but I didn't play Portable Ops. I didn't play Peace Walker. So that whole era is all kind of a blur to me, with the exception of the events of 3.
I think the problem is they're running into. For me personally, I started playing Peace Walker. Right now, I just don't care. I feel like it's the prequel thing we've been talking about. Like if you keep doing these prequels, it just gets to a point where it's not necessary. I mean, that's what Peace Walker feels to me. I already played a prequel. I want to see it expand forward, not expand backwards.
Well, I think Metal Gear 5 is going to kind of show us a pivotal event, and that is, Big Boss being cloned and the birth of Solid Snake. And who was the other guy?
Liquid.
Liquid.
a
and then
Liquid.
later Solidus.
Yeah. It was also really cool that I noticed in the trailer that Ocelot was in there on the motorcycle, like a middle-aged Ocelot.
Yeah, it was weird because as soon as I didn't recognize him as Ocelot because he wasn't in Liquid's body. So when I first saw him, I was kind of just like,
Oh my god, I forgot that happens.
yeah. I mean, like I didn't even recognize the guy. I'm like, who's this guy with blonde hair? He's a new character. And then as I watched it again, I was like, oh wait, I forgot.
This happened, and then
Liquid took
science,
over his body, and then he
something
went,
about science somewhere went wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, no. Liquid went into Ocelot's body. So
Yeah, I thought that's what you were talking
no,
about.
I said it the other way.
Well, good job, idiot.
Yeah, and so I just confused myself. Anyway, but I mean, this I could have an entire
Oh
conversation.
yeah, guys.
about
By the
this.
way, disclaimer: none of us claim to be Metal Gear experts here,
No,
so don't
I'm a fan. I'm just not.
don't get offended if we maybe say something that's not exactly correct.
Like, we could have an entire segment on this, just based on my fears of what this game could be and how bad I think it could turn out possibly if they do it completely wrong.
But don't worry, it could be horrible.
Yeah, but that I don't want to. Let's not stick with that. There was other game announcements. That Battlefield 4 was announced.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned that
It
before.
looks very pretty, but that's really I understand the appeal of Battlefield, Charlie. Kind of like you with Bioshock. Like I understand the appeal of it. I just don't like
Don't want to play
Battlefield.
It. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not that you hate Battlefield. You just
exactly.
It's a shooting game. Why?
So like, while there was definitely some really cool stuff going on in that demo, like graphically, and I was definitely impressed with it. It just didn't, I was like, oh, it's Battlefield. It just looks pretty.
Well, they know their selling point is the multiplayer. Like
Yeah.
they don't need to really sell anyone on this except for stories of except
campaign.
for single player people. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what really would have blown me away at PAX is if they had the multiplayer set up,
Well, they
like
hadn't
that
announced
people
it
can
yet.
try it.
I mean, they were teasing it, but they hadn't. Oh,
I think that would have been the way to announce a game. Then afterwards, you could say, "Oh yeah, we also have a campaign," because no one, there are very few people who are playing Battlefield for the campaign. That's what Bad Company is for.
yeah. Even I'm probably gonna get Battlefield 4, and I'll probably play the campaign, but I'm gonna get it for the multiplayer because that's what I enjoy. And hopefully, the multiplayer is more like what Battlefield 3 was on the PC.
64 players on
Yeah,
next
hopefully
gen
it's able,
consoles.
hopefully it's
I
able to
hope so.
expand, not be smaller.
Because I remember playing the beta for on PS3 actually, and Battlefield 3 was coming out, and I was impressed with it, but still like after the footage I've seen like of it running on PC and like the amount of players I know are, is possible on PC. Like I felt underwhelmed while I was playing it.
Now, Charlie, did you watch the 17-minute gameplay?
Yeah, I watched all of it.
Okay, yeah, I only watched like 12 minutes of it. Eventually, I turned it
What
off.
what story elements I was watching appeared to be very impressive.
Russians are the bad guys.
Yeah, Russians are the bad
Big
guys.
surprise.
And like in his 17 minutes, I actually was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen to these guys? What's gonna happen? Oh my god, this building is falling down. Oh my god, now they're underwater in a car. Wow.
There was some really cool stuff in that demo. Like there was one thing. It's a small detail, but it still really impressed me. Like I think I told you guys about it, but like there's the grass, and then when the guy stepped on the grass, like the
It,
grass
crunches
bent.
over. Yeah. It's the little things. Rule number 32.
The little things.
Yes.
There was also in the beginning of the car. I don't know why this has caught my eye, but like you could see the detail in the seatbelt. Like when they're in the very beginning, when they're in the car underwater, like you could just see. I thought that, like it's small, like you said, it's small stuff, but
Also, I'd be remiss not to point out those character models. They're
Yeah, the faces
fantastic.
were like each engine has a way it'll do faces, and it's a very distinct thing about that. It's like a watermark or what have you. Like Halo, you can tell because they have those faces renowned to be awful, and whatever Halo engine like 1 and 2, the faces were awful. And in Gears, they have those small kind of square heads and then tree trunk bodies. And in this game, the faces looked like Frostbite faces. They didn't look. I don't think they looked like Frostbite 2 engine faces. They look different to me. It looked like a completely different engine.
Well, it looked photorealistic.
It
the
did,
faces. It was
yeah.
pretty good. Like just the models in general. Like there's the one guy, the black guy. Well, I kind of wanted to avoid saying that,
you
but
racist.
he looked like really impressive. Like he looked like a real person, and that was something that just really impressed me in the demo. What?
Nothing.
I know what you're thinking.
No, I'm not thinking anything. I was just thinking of
Porn.
that was what I was thinking of, and it was funny.
Oh God, secret levels going to dark places.
I just have a feeling like what we saw, we're not gonna get. I mean, like the PC version is gonna get that. I don't think we're.
Well, I have
Even on next generation, I just don't
I have
see
faith that next gen can do it because Killzone, running
But
on
Killzone
PS4,
didn't look what that looked like. to
Killzone
me.
looked almost as good as what that looked like.
I don't think so. I think there was a.
I
Definitely
don't know.
like a
I need to watch
difference.
both demos like side to side. and
I'm not
make
gonna be
my own
the
comparison.
that guy who breaks the 1-to-1 argument, but I will say that we have some sort of broken trust with the promises of engines last generation that I don't think we're gonna have this generation, and I think Battlefield 4
So you
is
think
gonna look
it
like
might be
that.
Like,
I just
I
think you guys are
agree with
thinking like,
Charlie.
Well, I'm-
they've never delivered like this before, but now we have this really powerful hardware that is to high-end PC standards.
Exactly.
And I think now we're actually going to get this type of.
all right, it might be the
engine.
cynical part. Of it, 'cause over
Battlefield-
the past few years,
Yeah,
every
they
time we
have
see an
never
engine,
delivered.
You're just like, all right, well, that's what's going to look like on PC. Now show me on 360.
And
on
it looks
PS3.
like muddy
and they show it months
textures.
later.
And, yeah.
Like even Bioshock there's a big difference. I mean, compared to what PC version looks like, Bioshock does not look that great on the consoles.
I mean, it's still a fine looking game,
It's still
but
a fine looking game.
PC version, there's definitely an upgrade.
Yeah, what you get on the PC is remarkably better than
Mm-hmm.
what we're getting playing on our 360s.
But Joe, you have to remember the PS4 and the next box, presumably. Well, I don't know what the architecture of the next box will be, but the
the
PS4
same. It's going to be the same
is
thing.
built like they are high end PCs. Basically,
They are.
I know, like
and
Charlie
Battlefield
pointed
is built for high end PCs, so I don't see why it wouldn't
out. Okay,
look
fine.
as
Then
good.
Battlefield 5 is not going to look as good as when they show it. Take that.
You mean Bad Company 3?
Hopefully, Bad Company 3 instead of Bad Company 5. Hopefully, they get that rolling first. Replace that with Medal of Honor, that garbage that they tried.
Yeah, then EA was like, "Yeah, we're not doing that again. Clearly, this doesn't work."
You know, now that you point that out, I kind of realized with the Unreal Engine demo that came out, like the whole time
Infiltrator?
yeah, the Infiltrator, the one we literally just watched that before the show started. Like I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Like I don't know why, I just have this
You know what reminds me?
negative feeling towards it.
Remember playing Bioshock? Not Bioshock. Mass Effect 3 was Unreal 3.5.
Yeah,
All of the cutscenes were in engine like that. That game looked just like a Mass Effect cutscene, only
Only
fancy.
better, yeah.
So just imagine you're playing as that guy, that cutscene's happening, and then it cuts right to the camera where you're controlling him.
exactly.
It's gonna be just like you play a Mass Effect game.
Kinda
It's
like
similar
how,
to Metal Gear Solid 4,
yeah.
how all those cutscenes.
Like
were in
that's what that
engines, they
game
would
is
cut
gonna
out into
look
gameplay.
just like that. Like it's gonna be like cutscenes in game, like a Metal Gear Solid.
That's how all
cutscene.
games should be.
There was some cool stuff going on in that demo too. The water leaking out of the pipes,
Yeah,
the reflections.
they make the point of you seeing the one drip out of the top, fall to the bottom, and then drip, and then it goes through that like sort of facade,
Mhm.
like I forgot what movie that. Oh, like Mission Impossible 3. I think they did something like that with that
I don't
thing.
remember 3 that well.
I,
But
I think it was Mission Impossible. I forget where they did that. Like it shoots out a reflection of like the image of the hallway.
Yeah.
yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's him holding up like a hologram thing, and it makes the picture of like what the hallway should look like, and he's hiding right behind it.
Imagine a security camera, then you take a picture from the angle, and then you put it in front of the camera. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a very fancy version of that.
It was a very cool demo. You're right. I think maybe I'm being a little too cynical towards.
Yeah,
it.
we have such a broken trust of these companies promising us an engine that looks awesome, and then the hardware just won't support it.
Well, our current consoles are underpowered. That's not going to be the case with
The current
the next
consoles, the
next
360, the
consoles.
PS3,
Yeah.
and the Wii U.
Yeah, they're underpowered.
Oh, yeah.
And guys, I admit that the Wii U, I wouldn't call it last gen console. I think it's doing stuff that is next gen, just not in an obvious
Not in
way
a
like
graphical
these are.
power way.
Yeah, kind of like the Wii.
We should also bring up the fact that when asked if Unreal Engine 4 would be supported with the Wii U, the guy started laughing in the interview. And then it was also confirmed that Frostbite 3 will never make its way to Wii U.
Now, I brought this up before about Unreal 3, but I'm really excited to see that on other EA properties like Mass Effect and Dragon Age. I think that's going to look.
You mean Frostbite? No.
Frostbite. Yeah.
I wonder how it'll look from going to Unreal to Frostbite. I'm kind of scared almost how it'll completely change the look of Mass Effect, or it won't.
I
It
mean,
just like I said with the faces, the way it renders like things like that. I wonder if they'll look any different.
Well, to me, I'm more interested in what it does with Dragon Age 3, mainly because I thought
Maybe it'll look like a video game.
yeah, because 1 looked so dated when it came out. 2 was not a step up at all, and
it didn't have the evolution that Mass Effect did.
yeah, well,
Or any game.
because Dragon Age Origins looked like it should have come out either early generation or, if some could argue, on consoles last gen.
I'll never forget making the point like Dragon Age came out 2009 and Mass Effect came out in 2007.
And Mass Effect was a better
And
looking
Mass
game.
Effect blew it away in the graphics department. Like, oh my god, Dragon Age looked like a fucking
I mean,
PSP
Dragon Age
game.
had a better frame rate and less texture popping, but still.
Yeah.
And,
Oh
like,
god.
And like personally, I just don't. I kind of lost interest in what Mass Effect does.
Mhm.
Like as a whole, just a series.
Shh, Joe, your opinion is invalid.
What? No, I mean I like as a group. I love that series as the 3 games. Split them up differently. I have very mixed emotions about all 3 games. But I mean, like they don't. To me, they don't need to. To me, it's over. Just stop. But
No,
of course, they won't because it makes money. So
as kind of a Mass Effect super fan, I'm very excited to see where it goes next. I kind of hope they go the direction of a sequel and not a prequel, but I'm still very excited to see where it goes, especially running on Frostbite 3. That's going to look amazing.
yeah, so we have those probably in the next 2 or 3 years. We'll have all those Dragon Age. Well, Dragon Age is supposed to come out sometime next year. Mass Effect probably just started development relatively like sometime last year.
I think they announced actually at GDC that it started development.
When they announced that a different developer's taken over, which might be a good thing.
Wait, for what? For Mass Effect?
Bioshock. Yeah, I mean Mass Effect. Yeah.
Wait, what's about? It's still BioWare, right?
No, it's still BioWare, but it's a different.
It's gonna be like BioWare Montreal or
Yeah, it's
whatever.
a different group of BioWare, so it's not the same people. So hopefully
I don't know
the
if
same
that's actually
people-
the studio.
So hopefully the same people could go mess something else up.
There was another demo. There was the Activision their facial
Yeah.
technology demo, which is terrifying. I don't like that demo because
yeah, it was really, really creepy. What I like, my favorite part about that demo is when they do the close up on the face and you see the grease on the skin and like the crow's feet in his eyes and stuff.
kind of looks like Jim Norton a little bit.
Jim Norton and Tommy Maguire.
Yeah.
It depends on the angle you look at. And that one was creepy. I wonder like what type of game they're going to use that in. Is that going to be in future?
Imagine that in Call of
Future
Duty.
World of Warcraft
To
expansions.
me, it has to be in future Call of Duty games.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like that's their.
Nobody for future World of Warcraft games.
You know what?
Nobody?
That was actually something else. Briefly, just kind of like a little side note here. I was thinking about that. And World of Warcraft, it's the highest subscribed
like
MMO
10 billion people
ever.
or whatever.
What if
I don't think there's
Blizzard
that many people
released
on the
like a
earth.
World of Warcraft 2, like an official World of Warcraft
Well, they're
sequel
doing
with
Titan.
a whole, new engine?
I don't know. I mean, it would have to be free to play. I think that's what they would have to
Not
do.
Warcraft. I think Warcraft has such a huge install base that
No, I think
their
it's,
fans would.
know,
I think it's
go
different.
over
I think
with
the
how to
reason
play.
Diablo 3 is free is because there's like 3 billion
But
people
Charlie,
playing
Diablo 3 isn't an MMO.
Well, whatever.
Diablo
Well, it's
3's
free.
not free.
Yeah, you have to buy the game, but it's free online to
Oh,
play.
okay, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
It's because
Even though-
WoW has like 3 billion
Like
people
if
paying
they
for it.
think if they seriously think they can release Titan at a $60 price tag and then charge $15 a month on
They're
top
crazy.
of that.
They're gonna have to do a thing where like you'll have a level cap you can reach if you're playing for free, and then you'll have to pay.
But that's the bad version of free to play.
That is
To
the
me, that's
sh-
not how you do free to play. To me, you make the game completely free, and then
You
if
give
it's-
me a week to play it for as long as I want and get to. That's what they did. You could get like before this all like freemium crap and whatever. You could like play to like level 60 for a week. Like you could play for a week, and the highest you could get was 60, and then you could still keep that character too.
if
But
you
now
start
it's
paying
it's
for it.
free to play until like level 20.
Yeah.
Maybe
or
it should be
whatever.
down like a DC Universe Online.
Like make a base model, and then if you choose to pay, you get extra stuff. Yeah, that's
No, this
fine.
Like-
game
like
is
you can
probably going to
level
launch
up
at
normally and
at
everything.
$40. It'll be the core pack for $40, and then you'll pay whatever a month.
I mean, I just think they're crazy.
It's like a phone contract. It's like you get your phone subsidized, but you pay it back over 24 months or 36 months, however long your contract is.
I understand it. People complain about, they say MMO should be free to play now just because, the market has changed. However, I think in order to constantly update and maintain an MMO, I think that there should be a subscription fee.
Yeah, it's how MMOs are. That's like when
Exactly.
you think of an MMO, you're like, crap, I gotta buy this game and I gotta pay per month for the subscription. And I will say that WoW was like, I think it's $74 for like 6 months.
Is it?
Yeah, like it's expensive. It's like $35 for like 2 or 3 months.
Well, it's only $15 a month, right?
Yeah. So
I also because we're almost done with the segment, but I wanted to talk about there's actually a lot of because it's the only console to talk about. There was actually a lot of positive information about the Vita's future and the PS4's future.
How they're going to complement each other?
Not complement each other. I mean, the Vita over the past week announced that 100
100 Vita games are
100
coming.
Vita games will be out by the end of the year.
Limbo is coming.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, like, to me, announce new games. Don't announce games that are 4 years old, even though I
Yeah.
love Limbo.
I mean, I get that. But at the same time, that if I were a Vita owner, even if I'd played Limbo already, it's such a good game, I'd be excited if that.
Because it would be
for
the
that
only game
coming
coming to it. That's
Vita.
why you would buy it.
Rainbow Moon. Did they announce a Vita
That was
version of
announced a
Rainbow Moon?
while ago. I don't want to focus on the Vita because that thing will.
We made that mistake already.
Yeah, that thing will burn and die eventually.
Oh.
It's gonna have a small market. It will never ever
it won't be a
be
DS.
popular unless they make a Metal Gear, like a core Metal Gear game, or I don't
Or
know,
a good game.
a good game in general needs to be made for that system. But let's jump into the PS4 because
Not if they bundle it. Just saying.
yeah, and then they gotta charge what $600
For a PS4 and a Vita
if
bundle.
If they even dare to touch a $5.99 price point
They're
in
done.
in the US.
They are done.
Like they just can't. That's why they won't
I
start.
could see a
Oracle bundles.
$4.99 bundle with it if they really want.
Oh yeah, that'd be
That's saying
brilliant.
yeah, that would be ridiculous. But then they're saying the Vita's not worth anything. And
If they were to treat the Vita like the Wii U treats its gamepad, like I think that would be
Well-
the
Or
way
maybe
to
even
take
the
that
3DS
system.
or something like
they,
that.
When they were talking about the PS4, because later in the week they talked about the PS4. That's something when you go into remote play. If you do it now, when it actually
It's laggy.
works,
Yeah.
not just laggy, but the screen on your TV goes.
Yeah, it
black
goes
or whatever.
black.
It will be like what the Wii U does with Mario Brothers. You'll see that happen on the screen, but it'll also be happening on your.
With probably severe delay.
Well, if it does it if they're able to incorporate like the Wii U does,
It works fantastically on the Wii U.
I know it does. I'm on the Vita. It probably won't.
Yeah, just because it's Sony. Saying
Because
these
they have a
things.
proprietary wireless connection that runs with minimum lag, and the way it works on the PS3 is that the PS3 puts out a Wi-Fi signal that the Vita hooks onto, and
Yeah,
then
it's not
that's
that
got horrible delay on
Do
it.
you remember when PSP had remote play capabilities, but
Yeah.
That's why-
they
that's why
touched on
everyone-
it and then completely
That's why
ignored it?
everyone laughs at them when they bring up remote play. Oh, it's going to work with the PSP. Oh, well, it didn't really work with the PSP. Well, we're going to do it with the PS3 and the Vita. Oh, well, 2 games. And then it's like, oh, well, now we're finally going to do it. It's like, just stop. Just stop.
But it makes sense with the Vita, and the fact that it just can't work on every game automatically is Sony's fault, and it should. It really and I thought that one of the coolest things about some options on remote play was the fact that you could use the back touchpad as the L2 and R2, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, like it's a cool thing, but I mean, they always talk it up, and then I can almost guarantee it will not deliver.
While we're on the subject of Sony, I just want to mention something that's insane to me. MLB The Show 13. 12 was crossed by...
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
No, it was not.
Well, that's besides the point. There's no reason why MLB The Show 13 should not be cross-buy.
Because I bet it wasn't successful. It probably wasn't what they thought it would be with Sly Cooper and
Those games sell a lot. The show?
No. I know that, but I mean, maybe the cross-buy thing, they kind of ate their own words with it, and they thought it was going to be a bigger deal, and they
Well,
might
would
have
have
found out
worked
that
with
not-
Sly Cooper if, they advertised the game.
That game still
I
sold
think,
well
like-
for not being advertised.
I think 3 people knew that Sly Cooper were out.
Well, no, it sold better than All Stars did, and All Stars had higher marketing than Sly Cooper did.
I think you mean that it had marketing.
What?
All Stars.
Yeah, All Stars had marketing. Sly Cooper didn't, and Sly Cooper still sold better than the sad little numbers.
So is there anything else about GDC that happened?
Well, there
that
was
you
still. I wanted to talk. There was more quicker points I wanted to get to, but we
So
kind of.
Go ahead.
PS4 will have digital buttons for the.
instead of
for
analog
the-
buttons,
Analog?
because the developers didn't use like the pressure sensitivity of analog buttons.
Now, would there be an actual difference when you feel the button?
No, well, it's the difference is a click or a mush type thing. Like
Wait, what do you mean? Like
on an
digital
analog
buttons?
button, you will hear a click, or you correct me if I'm wrong. It's either or. The digital buttons I don't think have the click that an analog button will. The difference is that digital buttons don't have the pressure sensitivity of an analog button. Like
I'm not
like,
sure how I feel about that though.
Well, you never used it. That's why it's not happening. Because what it would be is like a game could take like slightly tap X to do this.
Oh, okay. Heavy.
Okay.
No, maybe not. But okay, I kind of understand.
I mean, that's a cool. Okay, that's kind of a cool idea.
Analog
but
sticks, perfect example. Clicking an analog stick.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's
I'm-
kind of a cool idea, but I think for me that would take some getting used to.
I don't think
I
it
don't
will.
think
You're
we're
not
gonna
even.
even
You're not
notice
even gonna notice it. That's why they're taking it out
But
because
I just
nobody
wanted to
did.
know what the difference was, and okay, because I tried finding out, and no one really was able to. No one explained it. It was just like, oh yeah, let's go digital to analog.
Because the Vita had digital buttons.
Okay. All right.
So and they didn't click.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you're not gonna. Feel
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The start button, is that going to be like a tap of the touchpad or something?
No, start button's going to be the options button. That's
Oh,
gonna be a start
okay.
and select thrown in one button.
This would be weird. Like, you start up a game, it's like, press
Also,
options.
that little pad clicks in too.
Yeah. So it's
Oh, does it?
It's gonna be like the glass trackpads on the Macs. It's gonna be like a touch like thing. It's not gonna be glass because that would look nice. It'll be click and like tap or whatever.
I like the PS4 controller, but I'm still not 100% on it.
I like it because it reminds me of the new design for the analog sticks on the 360 controller, where
the
it's
concave.
got the it goes in and then there's got the little hooks on the edges.
Well, yeah, I like that, but I mean, to me, just I haven't like seen it in person or held it. I think I might feel better about it once that actually happens. But it just looks kind of wide. It looks kind of bulky. I mean, there's one thing I really did like about it, which is the way the L2 and R2 triggers are.
Are they
now.
actually triggers? I don't think
Yeah, they're
they're
triggers
actually-
now instead of the weird thing.
I still
that
never
was
understood the
PS3 ones.
L1 and L2 thing. I just thought it was a dumb way to name them.
well, there's still L2.
I know. I don't know. I thought the names were dumb.
Yeah. But like real quick, I think that's why I'm gonna like it more. Because it is bulkier. Because I do inherently do like the 360 controller a little bit better. But
It's
the
got a little
360
weight to
controller is
it.
big too.
Yeah, it's and it's got the battery packs and
Yeah. I mean, well, battery packs need to go away.
But at the same time, I'm also used to how the PS3 controller feels. I think that for me is gonna take some getting used to.
Well, this is like the first drastic change since the DualShock 1. This is now the DualShock 4, and this is like the first time we're actually getting real change added to it.
I think it's cool that that instead of just having the lights like one little red light, like the light on the back of it actually like glows in these cool like
Yeah.
fluorescent colors.
First will always be blue.
Yeah.
When you're playing home
oh,
alone, it
that's
will
so
always be blue.
cool.
When you're it actually goes in that order.
It's like blue, orange, and like red or
no, it's
like
the colors
yellow.
of the of the buttons. So it's going to be green is the third player.
Oh, they're
fourth
the
player's
buttons are
pink.
colored now.
Yeah, and the second player is red.
Okay.
Yeah, so it goes to what the buttons are. But anyway,
Any last points?
no, that was really all. We got through Metal Gear,
That was good for me.
Battlefield, PS4,
All the
important stuff.
all the high notes.
All right, we'll see you guys after the break.
Yeah, we'll be talking about Bioshock.
It's a really really good game.
Piece of garbage.
Show your opinions. What's up, everyone? Welcome back. This past week, something weird happened. I got a little game, it's something called Bioshock Infinite. I went in with high expectations, but then this is when the weird part happened. Bioshock Infinite blew those high expectations out of the water and became one of the greatest games I've ever played in my entire life. Someone tell me how this happened, because the people over at Irrational Games deserve game of the past 30 years for this game. It is
Those 6 months
fantastic.
really paid off.
Well, oh yeah, when they delayed it. All right, guys, got to delay another 6 months.
I'm glad they did, because if this was if this was the level they were trying to get it to, then good for them. Joe, I know you beat it. I beat it. I'm actually playing through it again. We won't talk about the ending or anything because we did a spoiler cast for that. However, I just can't iterate enough how good this game is. This game cements gaming's place in the realm of, gaming as a visual art. Not only visual art, just gaming as an art, because that's what this game is. It's a piece of art. It touches on topics that are usually left for the highest form of literature. It looks beautiful. There's so much good about this game.
Now I'm gonna play. Before I start, I'm just gonna say I absolutely love this game. This game is easily the best game I've played all year, and it's probably the best game I played in the past few years, honestly. But I'm gonna play like a little bit of devil's advocate. I will not call this game a sign of art, and I think because it falls into the same category that every other first-person shooter falls into, and I understand this is a hard thing to accomplish, and it's just the way I felt, and I talked to some friends, and they felt the same way. This game could have been... I think this game would have benefited if they made the fights feel special, and they don't do that. When you get into a fight, you kind of know, you walk into the area, you kind of know, all right, I'm going to fight here. Either because they showed it in gameplay demos before, or it's just kind of a setup. There's barriers and stuff, and you see the walking Washington thing, or the rails are around, so you're gonna fight. I feel like this game could have been, if they really wanted to take a step forward in that direction, they could have been the first game to say, this isn't going to be all about fighting. And the game opens up, and you're walking around, and arguably the first 15 minutes...
I spent an hour in that first carnival town section just looking around, trying to listen to every conversation I possibly could.
You spent about an hour. I spent probably 20, 30 minutes in that one section before you start fighting anyone. That's arguably the best part of the game, is just walking around and...
Well, yeah, for the entire game, not just that part.
Well, yeah, that's something... My main point is, I feel like this game, if they really wanted to say something about video games and how they should be accepted, they should have put less fights in. It shouldn't have been every time you fight someone, I'm not gonna say who, 3 times, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know you're.
And it's not very enjoyable. It's cool the first time, and then after that, it's oh, I'm doing this again. And then to me, it's oh, I'm doing this again. And I understand why they're doing it for the story point. I mean, like I said, I really do love this game, but to me, after I beat the game and I got over the initial reaction of how much I love the ending and what they did with it, and what they did with Bioshock as a universe now, that was something I thought about, was people, I listened to this one podcast, and they keep talking about what's going to be the game that finally says we're going to stop with all this unnecessary killing. Tomb Raider could have done it. They chose not
to.
I
agree with you on
Bioshock
that.
could have been that game, and because of the way it goes to so many different lenses, talking about racism from both sides, if you're extremist white or you're extremist black.
This game has what I really like about this game is it has these ideas, but doesn't push any of these ideas down your throat. It doesn't initially say, this is good, this is bad. It just shows you these people with these two very different ideas, very, very extreme ideas, and they show you it from an outsider's point of view. You're not persuade to agree with one or the other, and that's something I really like about the game, is it leaves it up to you. But I completely get what you're saying about the combat. However, I will say this about the combat: it could have used less of it, but it is very, very good. I think this game does two things that help to separate it from normal, first person shooter combat. And that is the sky hooks, the skylines. First of all, that is exhilarating when you're flying around like a huge combat arena and you're shooting at people from the line, just jumping on them, hitting them with your hook.
Yeah, I was really
jumping
afraid.
back on. I love that. And then another thing is the Vigors, which the Vigors are basically the plasmids from the first Bioshock. And you can say, yeah, that's an old idea, but it expands upon the Vigors and expands upon the idea of a plasmid, a power and a dual system, kind of like Skyrim or Bioshock 2, where you have your gun in one hand and you have your power in the other, and it works in tandem. It works wonderfully. But yes, I agree with you that it could have used less combat scenarios, and I think they should have done away with maybe the combat scenarios that kind of felt generic, like, oh, you go in, well, this is a small room, going to be attacked by a group of guys, and just left it to those big areas with the skyhooks, because I think that for me was one of the best parts about the game.
I don't think it should have been Bioshock. It should have been. I almost think that's unfair to say about, because Bioshock is a franchise that is beloved and its shooting is part of Bioshock. And while I will say that games are kind of held back by like, oh, shoot, and they have these fantastic stories and set piece environments and like these crazy like things and grenades and crap, it's like, I think Bioshock should not be this game. I think they should do that in a new game, in a new franchise.
But it's not that. The fighting has context to it. Like it doesn't.
I know.
like
That's what I'm saying. That it should
agreeing
be
with you.
there. I think that is Bioshock. I think Bioshock would not have gotten 10s if it wasn't there.
Yeah.
They'd been like, well, this is Bioshock, but where's the shooting and where's all the cool stuff?
Yeah.
And that is something that should be in like
And the combat's unique too.
some other game that wants to do that.
Yeah, like I know, I understand it's kind of unfair point because it wasn't something I thought about going into the game. I expected there to be fights, obviously, because I played Bioshock 1 and the little half-bred sister that 2 was, and so
Hey.
like I was expecting fights, but my thing about Bioshock 1 when I played Bioshock 1 and I heard Big Daddy, a Big Daddy walking around in the background, I was sorry, I was like, oh crap, like I gotta fight this thing. It was because usually I didn't have enough ammo, maybe I didn't have enough health, but there was always something. Like when I heard Big Daddy, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go prepare for this. I'm gonna go do my stuff, and then I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna confront him, and I'm gonna kill him, and then I'm gonna take his little sister. Like there was no enemy like that. You see Handyman, he just jumps around like a bambling idiot.
He's tough on hard. On hard mode and 1999 mode, but he is a tough enemy. But
I'm not saying
I
he's
get what
not
you're
tough,
saying.
but he's not that character. And Songbird is not that character either. And Songbird, not that I'm saying Songbird was designed to be that. Now, I'm not saying Handyman was maybe not designed to be that, but like there was something to me missing in the combat. And to me, when I felt like when I did a fight in the original Bioshock, I felt like it was kind of special because the people who were the splicers were fucking crazy.
Mhm.
They're jumping around, they're wearing their masks, going like screaming and killing you, or trying to kill you. They're jumping from the ceiling, they're crawling out of holes, like.
And then in
it was
Bioshock,
confined, and you were like, oh my god, like you were in these areas that were so tightly held. And then in Bioshock Infinite, you're fighting people who are just flat out just fighting because they're racist and they're poor black people fighting, and no matter what, they're fighting you. They don't care. They're just killing you because you're there. You're trying to get somewhere, and they're like, nope, we got to kill you because we see you and we don't know what side you're on. Like that's what it is, and like that's what I'm saying. Like I felt like the combat was a little different, not mechanics wise, like shooting and stuff, but I felt like there was a different feel to it.
I get that. It's like in the first game, you're fighting these splicers who are crazy and like they're kind of using all these different maneuvers. And in Infinite, they do use like I said, you'll use the sky hooks,
yeah,
but
they
they'll
jump around
also
on the
use it
sky
to
hook
great
for you.
effect.
I mean, that adds to it, but
But in Infinite, I get what you're saying. You're fighting guys with just normal guys with guns as opposed to these crazy splicers that you were fighting in the first Bioshock. One thing, I'll give this game a lot of praise, but I had like a few nitpicks with it, and one of them was playing on normal and hard difficulties. Just I guess it's different on 1999 mode. I haven't tried it yet. Resources aren't limited like they were in Bioshock, and that to an extent was something that bothered me. It sounds like something that should annoy someone, but I liked in the first Bioshock. I like, having low ammo and going into an area with a lot of enemies and just being like, oh god, how am I gonna get through this? Am I gonna try to sneak past? I have to be careful with, my ammo reserves and
And
my health.
and that's banking off exactly what I just said. I feel like I'm really sounding really negative towards this game, but I really do love it. But
No, I get
to
get some of the
back
complaints
off-
you're making
to
though.
get back off what you said though, it's like, oh crap, I'm out of ammo. Let me. Oh wait, no, Elizabeth. Oh, she's gonna throw me ammo right now. Oh, I'm almost dead. Oh nope, she got health.
It's convenient though. I like that.
No, I like it too. It's awesome.
But
Because
I missed the sense of like kind of the fact that you were most of the time always in need of something in the original Bioshock.
and the fact that they designed her so perfectly. I mean, she has no health bar. She's always giving you stuff.
She is
You don't have to hold her hand. She basically, in combat, she kind of like, it's almost like she disappears. It's almost like when you enter combat, she's taken away. But if you look behind you, she's always there.
she is a technical marvel, just for many different reasons. Like the way she was animated, like her character, like they made her look cartoony, but not cartoony enough to the point where it's like distracting. It's like, oh, that looks completely out of place in this
The whole
game.
game kind of has a
It has a cool stylized look to it.
cartoon look to it, but it's
Well, like
not.
she looks like, I think the best comparison I can make is to how she looks would be like, and the way she moves would be like a Disney princess, from like the 90s, from like Beauty and the Beast and whatnot. However, just you grow so attached to her as a character. I think she is one of the most well-written video game characters of all time. And it also doesn't help that she is a fantastic AI partner.
Yeah, her whole, like, everything with her, the way you're introduced to her, the relationship that you and that Booker, you're playing as Booker DeWitt, and her develop over the game, and then to the revelation that happens at the end, like, you always cared for her. Like, I got mad at, like, throughout the game, Booker would make her mad about, something. And it's just like, she'd run away from you. It's like, God damn it, like, stop that. Like, I don't want her to be mad at me. But Booker made her mad at me because I had no control over it.
And the look on her face, like when she was mad, when she was surprised, when she was upset, like the emotion in her face, like in her eyes and everything, and like the way her mouth moved, it was there. And it was just like, it was more real to me than anything I've ever seen in a video game before. And also, I love the fact that this isn't really much of a spoiler, but they're not love interests for each other. That's not a point of the game. I love that they did that though, because it almost feels like, you care for her, but you care for her like she's your partner, not like some generic girl who I'm going to hook up with at the end of the
And
game.
I actually feel like that's what The Last of Us is going to be doing when it comes out this summer. Because there's such a big age difference, hopefully, I really don't want them to touch on it all, that love relationship. I want it to be like a father-daughter
they're not going to.
relationship.
That'd be creepy.
Yeah, it's post-apocalyptic though, anything.
Anything goes.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I feel like that's, instead of being the love interest, I think that's something that games can expand upon, is be these multiple, like, you don't have to just be a love interest. You can be a father or a father-daughter, a daughter-father, son,
Like friends.
son, mom, yeah, just friends.
I think a really good example is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, which is what they did with Zelda in that game. She's a love interest to an extent, but it's not made like really obvious at all. Like they don't kiss. It's just like she feels more of like a friend that you really care about, like when you're playing through the game. And I kind of want more games to do that. Like you said, I want there to be less, this is a girl, I'm going to save her, I'm going to hook up with her. I want it to be like, this is the girl, she's my partner, and I care about her.
Yeah, not just to be like, well, in the end, I want to,
Yeah.
get with her.
And Elizabeth, like I said, she is the most well-written character I've ever seen in a video game.
Yeah, I'd probably put up the writing, like, the last game that, like, I really loved the writing to was probably Portal 2. Just because Portal 2 was, just, it was funny, it was serious, like, it got the story across. And, like, I probably put Portal 2 and Bioshock Infinite kind of in the same category, just because they both pulled it off so well.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, for two different reasons. One was really, Bioshock had its funny moments, but, I mean, Portal was, like, so geniusly funny and got the point across. And
I think Portal has some of the best writing in any video game.
And then Infinite got, like, the serious tone, but it also got the important part of the story. And it never felt, now, without saying spoiler, that the ending, if you stop paying attention for like a minute, in like the last 20 minutes that they're showing you stuff, you could probably easily get confused. But I mean, if you pay attention, they do a good job of not confusing you.
Exactly. Everything is explained.
Yeah, like the whole game, like all the reviews said it. It's kind of known that there is a twist in this game, and it just they handle it well. They kind of explain everything, but leave you saying like it leaves it open for interpretation, and that's why I compare like this type of story is kind of what like movies do. Like think about like what Inception did. Like it ended and it left you questioning like, well, maybe he was still in limbo, maybe he was still in this.
It's conclusive yet vague enough
Yes.
to inspire these discussions.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool about this ending, and that's what, like I said, like this game moves so many things forward for video games. It moves the storytelling, it moves themes forward, it moves character like AI development forward for her, and like I said,
It does. I think it's as much of a genre defining masterpiece as the original, which is something I didn't think any game could reach the standard that the first Bioshock hit, but this game hit that standard. And even, I love the first Bioshock, but I think this game even a little bit more goes like a tiny bit above.
I actually bought the Welcome to Rapture edition, the one that comes with both of them, and I'm gonna replay through the first one because I want to know
It's such a good game.
I want to be able to like play them close together and then be able to have that definitive one, like because it's really hard. I haven't played one in a long time, so I'd be very interested to know if I actually if I enjoy one.
One thing I loved about just really quick Bioshock Infinite was you mentioned the ending and how it's conclusive yet vague. Everything in the story and in the game has a purpose. Nothing in the game really feels like it's thrown in just to be thrown in, except for, maybe Joe mentioned some of the combat parts. But aside from everything else, everything feels like it has its purpose.
You know, a game kind of did that recently that I played through. I just recently played through the Metal Gear Solid series. What? No, it's fine.
Oh,
Yeah, no, he took out the music.
okay.
We're good. Anyways, so I just recently played through the Metal Gear Solid series. You know what? It's been plenty of time. Spoiler for Metal Gear Solid 3. But at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3, you find out that Boss, you played 3, right?
Yeah.
You find out Boss really wasn't a defectant towards the U.S. In fact, she was told to defect purposely, and then she had to stay defected. And you find out Snake had to kill her. And then you also find out Ocelot is also working with America.
Yeah.
Sorry for spoiler, but
get over it. The
replaying
game
through
came
that
out in
game-
like 2004.
replaying through that game again with like knowing all that information, I was like just completely like blown away. Like how smart the looks on there. Like, and obviously the faces don't look fantastic, but Kojima was able to still pull off these face looks. That was like, oh my god, like he gave her a look. Oh, like it's just and words and lines, and like they hinted the whole time, like from almost the first dialogue you have with the boss. The boss tells you what the end of the game is. 5 minutes into the game, it's like, are you kidding me? Like
And-
it's just ingenious, and that's what this game does. Everything that you see and that's said, even the songs that are played hint that like this.
Yeah.
This is something is wrong here. Like this is not correct.
This song should not be here. Yeah, I actually noticed that. I'm playing through it again. I started my new game. I'm playing on hard mode. I was playing in normal mode the first time I beat it. And now that I'm going through the game, knowing what I know, the game just like, it feels like an almost a new experience playing it in the context I'm playing it now. Like I'll pick up on things that I didn't pick up on my first time around. And it's such a great feeling. This actually, you mentioned Metal Gear Solid 3 had it. The original Bioshock had it as well.
Yeah, with the Would You Kindly spoiler.
Yeah.
With Would You Kindly. Once again, now it's what, 4 years now? Over 4 years?
Yeah, get over it.
Yeah.
2007. If you haven't played it right, you don't like video games.
pretty much. And there's this. I want to talk about before we wrap this up. There's Did you get the season pass? I don't know if
No.
you did. All right, so I ended up buying the season pass. I said I wasn't gonna fall for the trick again, but I found out the season pass is gonna be 3 story-driven DLCs. And I read there's an interesting article on Kotaku that goes into, I don't know if you read it, about what what this one guy thought the 3 DLCs would be. And I actually kind of agree with him. I wonder what you think. The first, he put them out the order they should come out in. The first one would be a kind of a prequel story to the universe of Infinite.
Yeah, I'd be.
Like, and it would be, and you would be playing as the leader of the black girl.
Daisy Fitzroy,
Daisy Fitzroy. Yeah, you'd play as her. Now I know she's not a like.
leader of the Vox Populi.
Yeah, she's not like, I don't know. Did you like her?
I didn't but you're not supposed to.
Yeah, you're not supposed to like her. I think that's what made her good.
And that's what's good about the game. Like I mentioned before, like it's left very gray. Like you're looking at it from an outsider's point of view. Nothing is inherently good or bad.
So like, yeah, they were talking about that, and I actually just realized I really can't go into the second DLC. Oh my god, I can't even mention the third one.
Well, I
wow.
will.
Anyway, they were very spoilerific, and I will tell you once we're on the break. But yeah,
I will say this about the first one
you
you mentioned. I would actually like that very much, just to get a little more context into how
I think
I know like the basics of how she got herself into her current situation, but like just to see it more detailed.
It would be cool just to, like I said, just delve deeper into that world of Infinite. And
I want to go back to Columbia. It's such a fascinating place. I definitely think if they almost did what they did with Bioshock 1 and Bioshock 2, if they do an Infinite 2 that takes place in Columbia, I would like that.
I wouldn't be surprised, just because this probably cost them a lot of money and they have the world already built, that 2K's, they probably already have this plan, and 2K, Ken Levine probably knows that 2K is going to do what they do with Bioshock and just make Infinite 2. And it would probably be good, like the second one was.
If it expands,
it's not going to be what Bioshock Infinite was, though, for a generation.
Oh yeah, definitely not. However, I would like it if the potential Infinite 2, if that expands upon the meta. I'm not gonna spoil it. I will say the meta revelation that's realized in the end. It'd be interesting to see it to kind of expand on that.
Right. Yeah. So, like we said, we could probably talk another good half hour or so on this. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking about... No, it's a little early. There's still a few more big releases, but I think we could safely assume, like, what are the...
This is the last year of the current console generation.
What the best games of this generation have been.
It's never enough. It's never enough.
PS4's coming out later.
We could assume that this is one of the final years of the current console cycle.
Yeah, I mean, PS4's coming out sometime this holiday. Xbox is presumably coming out later this fall. We use last generation, ha ha ha. Anyways, so we thought, because there's only a few big games. The biggest games probably are that would maybe even be part of this topic would probably be Last of Us and Grand Theft Auto 5.
And Bioshock Infinite.
Well, I mean, Bioshock Infinite's already out, though. I'm talking about, like, two games that haven't been out.
Oh, that haven't been...
Yeah, haven't been released yet. We played Bioshock, so if that's going to be your choice, fine, go ahead. I mean, I think truly to have a game like that came out this year, I think you really need to wait, though, a few months before you bring that up, because I feel like right now it's just a hype.
No, I never said that's my choice.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Just like people in general just going like nuts.
No. It's not my choice. Don't worry.
Yeah, when we talk about it a few years from now, I think the only three games from this year that will be in the conversation will be Infinite, Last of Us, and probably GTA 5. So we think we're good. I'm basically thinking what our favorites and what our best, like what we think is the best games of the generation are, because it's almost wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, my favorite game, like just favorite, not best.
We'll do two each.
My favorite game is Limbo.
Okay.
Downloadable. Charlie's shaking his head at me, and like I said, it's just favorite. It's not like, to me, Limbo. It came out. I bought this game 4 times. I bought it twice on Xbox because you can't transfer between accounts. I bought it once on PS3, and I bought a PC limited edition only version, which I have an in-box copy at my home. And this game to me is just, it's a simple 2D platformer, black and white, not really graphically stunning, but this the sounds that like are created in the game, the little musical tones that they throw in there. It's just I don't know why. I love this game.
No, I completely get why you would love it. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah, it's hard for me to explain it like in words, but it truly is like my favorite game. I've played it. I play it multiple times a year. I just recently played it through it on my PS3 and then immediately started playing it on my PC again. And I beat it my quickest time, the PC times at 40 on Steam, 45 minutes to beat that game. I was very happy with that.
Just like Black Ops Declassified.
Yeah. But this game's actually good. And it's just such a... If you can find it, it's like, I think if they released it for like iPad, which because it's very simple controls, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I would easily buy it again on that because it's a fun game. It's only $15. If just try it. It's my favorite game of the generation, even though it's only a downloadable title.
And what do you think the best game of this console generation is?
Can we stick with favorites right now? I got to think about this one because best is I have a few.
Okay, all right. I guess I'll go with my favorite right now. My favorite game of this current console generation is Mass Effect, the original, very first Mass Effect, and that is because I got the game, but I didn't know what to expect from it, and I was immediately drawn into its world and its characters, and it was one of the first games I've ever played that made me have a really deep connection with the characters, with my crewmates. I cared about what happened to Erdnot Rex, It was a tough decision for me to pick Ashley or Kaidan just because I developed personal relationships with both of them. And it just did so much right. Like when I first got the game, yeah, the combat was clunky, but I didn't notice it as much. Definitely going back, it feels a little bit clunky, but it's still an excellent game. I think a big part of that is the sense of immersion. You feel immersed in the world. When you're walking around the Citadel and you have
It's big.
you have the soundtrack of the game, like the synthesizers, and like it's like this almost upbeat tune while you're walking around the Citadel, but yet there's like a sinister undertone.
Yeah, it's got like that. There's something there where it's like
Yeah.
like high happy little notes, and then there's like that like some sort of like somebody's holding down the really low note on the piano, just like.
And then the game just had like moments for me that were like really truly beautiful, like moments for me, like that are in. I'm not making sense. It had moments that I found really truly beautiful, and one of them was when you're on Ilos and you're going to the conduit, and you get like caught in like the force field when you're driving down the tunnel.
Yeah.
And you go in to talk to Vigil, which is the Prothean AI. Which
I loved that part about
that is
that game.
one of my favorite parts because the music, I think the song itself is just called Vigil. Plays in the game's intro, like the title screen, and it's just such a beautiful song. And talking to Vigil, talking to a Prothean, a Prothean VI, this ancient race that you've been hearing about all game, yet so little about them. You're actually talking to one of their VIs, and it's just such a beautiful and ominous moment in the game, and it really stuck out for me.
Well, I still
many
can't
moments
remember
in that
why.
game.
When that game first came out, I bought it. I had no clue. I was an ignorant gamer back then. Like, it was like, oh, Halo 3. I love Halo 3. games. Mass Effect. Well, what's this? I bought it. I got Mass Effect. I played. I'm like, what is this? I'm changing his face. Why does that matter? And what is this now? I have to choose my guns, and this inventory and the health. I got rid of it. I can't remember why I went back and played it. I don't remember if I picked up 2, and I loved 2. And I can't remember why I played through the first game. I remember getting to that part, like the end, when all this crazy stuff starts to happen. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's like that. It's like so deep and ominous. It was like the coolest part about it.
And then there's just other parts in the game for me. Like I mentioned, the choice between Ashley and Kaidan, and that plays out to the game's conversation system. And that was the first game to actually have a deep, fully voiced, optional conversation system like that. And that stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
That, like there were some choices in the game that I would actually that would take me, a good 5 to 6 minutes to actually pick something because I would really think about how I would react in that situation.
I let Ashley die because she shot Rex without my permission, so I let her die. That was easy, which is kind of cool that a video game can have two completely different effects.
I know.
I think that's
those effects carry through
to
3.
Yeah,
it's almost like they have a mass effect.
Damn it, Tom.
So that was this week's episode. Tom won't be with us next week.
And Charlie doesn't get an opinion.
All right, Charlie, what is
My
your
favorite game this generation?
I know exactly what
it's,
it is.
it's Rock Band 3. I fucking love Rock Band. I'm a musical guy. If you've seen my drum channel on YouTube, it's like the two things are connected. The secret level, and then you'll see Census, and then you'll see my drum thing, and then I always have our videos playing on top of my drum videos. I love music, and I'm so fucking good at Rock Band 3. I can spend $20. I can buy 1,600 points and spend it in like 10 seconds. I don't know what I want, and it's so much fun. It's such a good game, and I really hope that Harmonix makes another one.
Charlie, that's a really good choice because I've played Rock Band, I've played Guitar Hero, and those games, I think that is one of the best co-op experiences Rock Band I've ever had this generation.
I have friends. I'll have 4 or 5 friends come over. We have like 3 guitars, 2 microphones, and a keyboard.
Fun time singing Sabotage.
Oh God, Tom. Tom's awful at singing.
Yeah,
I'll never give him the microphone again. But and we'll all play. We'll have 2 microphones set up. I'll be playing guitar, and another friend will be playing guitar, and then another friend will be playing keyboard. And it's one of the best like friend co-op experiences you can probably have.
It's something everyone likes. Like everyone likes music,
yeah.
and it has old rock to pop songs on there. So I mean, you're kind of
it's got everything.
You get everybody. I mean,
it's got metal, it's got rock, it's got pop, it's got oldies.
Did you hear actually what the last song is?
Yeah, American Pie.
No, I heard it's going to be "Don't Let the Music Die."
Oh,
or the day the music died.
Hey, guess what the name of that song is, Tom?
Oh,
American
God damn
Pie.
it!
Yes.
God damn it,
That's really funny.
guys! This just shows you how little I know about music.
Or Rock Band 3.
Or Rock Band.
But it's just like it started with Guitar Hero. Like my cousin had Guitar Hero 2 on PS2 before it came to 360, and I'm like, "What is this?" He's like, "Oh," he hands me the guitar. And I had almost that Pokemon moment. Like, the first time you play Pokemon, you're introduced to this new world, and you don't know what's going to happen. And you'll never get that back again, because life sucks. But he hands me the guitar. I'm like, what do I do? I can't push these buttons and click. I thought for every note coming down that you had to let go of the button and push it again. And that's the first time I played Guitar Hero 2. And then for my birthday that year, my grandma had gotten me Guitar Hero 2 for the 360 because they ported it. Yeah.
That was an excellent game.
I have it.
I remember buying that. I paid $90 for Guitar Hero 2.
For the Explorer guitar.
Yeah.
It was it was
still
like
my favorite guitar to use.
Yeah, my favorite guitar is actually the Guitar Hero 5 guitar, the wireless one.
I never use that one.
I like that the best. I hate the Guitar Hero guitar, but I got Guitar Hero 2 and I play it all day. I beat it on medium, then I beat it on hard, and then I'd be playing everything on expert, like nothing lower than 95%. And then it gets to a point where it would take me like 1 or 2 tries to beat Freebird or whatever the hard song was in Guitar Hero 2.
Freebird at the end of Guitar Hero 2 when you're playing in Stonehenge was so epic.
That was really cool.
I had like no friends in middle school, so I was like, oh my God, my friends could see me playing this right now. They'd be so impressed.
I beat Through the Fire and Flames on expert legitimately.
That was in 3,
Guitar Hero
right?
3, yeah.
I didn't like Guitar Hero 3 as much as I liked 2.
I loved 3, and then Rock Band came out, and because I played the drums and they had a drum kit, I fell in love. And I would always play the guitar too, but I hated the thing. There was no click, and the click was what you played it for. The click, 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 click. And then Rock Band 2 came out. I didn't get Rock Band 2. I got Rock Band 3, and it's impossible to find a copy of that game.
Rock Band 3?
Rock Band 3. You can't find one.
I don't know why. Like
you know what's funny? That game got like a 9.25. Like almost like was like the average score for that game.
But I still wonder, why it's so hard to find. Was there like a licensing issue or something?
I don't think it got printed that often. Like it's like Mirror's Edge.
Also that, but I feel like that's also a game that might not get recycled as quickly, just because of the type of game it is.
Oh, people will hold on to it for longer. People hold on to
Rock Band longer.
You know what the great thing about that was? You only had to buy one set of peripherals,
and then
in Rock Band 1
for like 300 consecutive weeks or whatever. I don't know how long. Every Tuesday they put like 4 or 5 new songs or a whole album on there. And I think I have like over 500 songs on my Rock Band.
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely one of the best supported communities out there.
Mm-hmm. I think there's like a total of almost 5,000 songs on the Rock Band network.
Yeah. Oh well, actually, IGN just got shipped an Xbox from Harmonix and it's on over 5,000. It's like 4,000.
4,769.
So Charlie, get on buying all those songs.
And they got an Xbox shipped to them with all
with
the songs on
that's
there.
awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, let's get on to what we talked about, what our personal favorites are. But let's take in, factors. Let's take in what the game has done, to change the gaming landscape, what it's done to make us think about the way we play games. Let's talk about what we think the best, despite our personal opinion, what the best game of this console generation is.
And I feel like this one's gonna be the more I feel like could be more argumental. This one.
Oh yeah, I agree with you.
And I feel like we should have this conversation again when the PS4 launches or
Yeah.
when it's finally closed. So this is like up until now.
This is tentative.
yeah, whatever that means.
I'm actually picking a
Temporary.
game that I personally don't love as much as everyone else, and I think I think it was important for the generation total because it was a game that it was a sequel and it came out and it kind of expanded its player base, and it did a mix of shooting and RPG. And personally, like to me, that brought it down. But I think it was important that Mass Effect 2 did that.
Okay.
And just the characters they introduce. I mean, overall, the story's it's basically you get everyone to do this mission, and it might not be the best out of the three, but it's important. It's like
I think for some people it is.
it depends on what you what you look at it, but it's not my favorite game. But I think what it did for streamlining games just for people in general, and what it did for EA with the Mass Effect franchise, and what it did for the Mass Effect franchise in total, it brought Mass Effect onto a new level that it only wished it could have been before, and that was because I think it wasn't an exclusive. I think because EA bought BioWare and was able to make this game expand make it bigger. Were able to make it bigger than what Microsoft ever could have done with it, and that's just because they had the resources. And I think because they introduced what they did with that game, I think that was like a very important game to come out. Even though I didn't like it, I feel for gaming in general that was a very important game to get released when it did.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think Mass Effect was in Mass Effect 2. I mean, like I said, I love that game, but I'm still not as crazy about it as I am about the first one. However, I will say Mass Effect 2, that's a good choice because it took the RPG and made it accessible.
Yeah, it wasn't
for
like
people
the
who
first
don't
one. You
normally
enter the
play
first,
RPGs.
Like the first one is kind of like
The first one attempted it, but it was still very much an
but
RPG.
yeah, you got armor and stuff. Like it
was a lot.
It took the important RPG elements and kept them. It took away the unnecessary stuff and refined the shooting. It still looks good if you play it now. It still looks very well
Especially if you play it on PS3 because it's running on Unreal Engine 3.5.
It runs on what Mass Effect 3 was made with, and I think it was.
I played the fuck out of 2. For my friends who know me, I don't like RPG games. I feel scared by them. They're overwhelming. I don't know how I played through the first one when I did, but I played through 2 maybe 5 or 6 times, and I beat it on the hardest difficulty, and it was freaking hard.
Oh yeah, 2 is an excellent game. I remember that being really the first, because I've been excited for sequels before, like really excited. Just because I was so crazy about the first one, 2 was the first time that I was literally counting down the days till that game released.
A month before that
because
game
I was
came out,
so excited for it.
all I did was play the first one over and over and over.
Oh yeah,
and
so
over
did
and
I.
over and over and over again.
Trying to get the most perfect playthrough to bring through to
No, I
Mass
just want to get
Effect
to
2.
level 60. I got to level 60, and then I restarted it, and then I got my perfect playthrough. Like that's all I care about, because if you got to level 60, you could import crap in
And
there.
then it brought you up to level 5 in Mass Effect.
Yeah, and it gave you some
2.
other stuff. But I just feel, now obviously, depending on what you two say, there's many, many games that could be mentioned in this. But to me, Mass Effect 2 is probably the most important game of this generation. And that's what makes it probably the best.
Not my choice. However, that is a very, very, very good choice, and you made very good points about it. Charlie, I want to go last.
Okay. I think that kind of defined how RPG games and not. It did a lot. It changed a lot for them. But I think a game that did a lot for the industry was Minecraft.
Okay.
Because that completely changed the way that you thought about an indie game. Minecraft just recently sold 6 million on the 360, and
For an indie game, that's
for like
insane.
4 guys that made this game, that's like, oh my god, it's incredible. And now indie games are like AAA games. They're everywhere. They're almost more so than AAA games because it's now a lot harder to get 300 people to make one game when you can get 6 people to make one game that will profit like 150% zillion more than a AAA game will. And like a game like Son of the Arrival, which started out as like one guy made that game, and now they've got a little production company together, and now they have that big game, and it looks amazing. It looks like a AAA title almost. And if there was no Minecraft, these people would still be scared to come out
They'd
with these.
still be in the dark.
Yeah,
There were successes before that, but nothing what we saw
hit
with
like
this.
nothing like Minecraft.
Do I love about this indie market?
Mhm.
For me, it feels like a return to. Obviously, I don't think really any of us remember it that well, but in like the mid to late 90s, there was this boom in PC gaming where these really unique and interesting PC games were coming out. And it feels like with the indie market,
They're kind of like throwbacks.
yeah,
to that.
we're getting a return to that. We're getting a return to these really interesting
Like
survival
16,
horror
8-bit,
games.
like pixely, like
Not even just 16-bit, but like these like survival horror games that that were booming in the 90s, on PC. They're coming back in the form of, independent developers.
And I think independent developers can do what these big companies do like 1,000-fold. Like they're so much better at it because they'll work for you. It's like a big company.
They're working to make a game
Yeah,
and not to make money.
Exactly, and that's why Minecraft is a freaking amazing game because they're like, I want to make fun games for people to play and not just I want to make games that's going to sell.
It's
6
not
million
like,
copies.
how's this gonna sell?
Yeah,
is
this
there room for a sequel?
The first
in this
question
game?
was, are people going to have fun playing this game? And the answer is obviously yes.
I actually just want to butt in with something that I was reading. I was actually reading an opinion article, and it was an opinion article about. Now, I don't know if you guys know. And then in early '80s, there was this thing called a video game crash.
Yes.
Because it was. I don't know the details. All I know is that
There were too many NES games, too many Atari games coming out. A lot of them were unlicensed, and
so
it
this
brought down the
article is
industry.
focused on the impending second video game crash. And the reason he brought it up was because you look at the next generation of consoles and these AAA games are coming out. They're costing and it was right after Square Enix released their numbers recently, and they keep talking about Tomb Raider sells 3.4 million units.
Mhm.
Square Enix considers that a failure.
Ugh, that's a shame.
I mean, like,
It really is.
so it's like what, like if you're expecting a game to sell 5 million copies to be a success,
Uh-huh.
I think they're, like the guy said, they're doing something wrong, and he thinks that will ultimately, it's kind of going to be like you said in the early late, like sometime in the 90s. I feel like all 90s games felt like they were indie games because they were all made by small developers.
Yeah.
Is it's going to kind of like we're moving up, and then it's going to fall, and it's going to kind of be that rebuilding, and like the people that are,
It's like the cycle in Mass Effect,
it's just going to be a cycle, and he thinks that's something that's going to
just
it's
minus
going
the
to occur,
Reaper
and it's going to
invasion.
because these indie games are going to be extremely profitable.
Mhm.
Definitely, if the next Xbox system's open, like the PS4 is going to be, like the
A
PC
huge open
is.
market. I would love that because I'm not a PC gamer, but I want to play these games. I want to play Slender the Arrival, and if I was able to play that on my PS4. You have no idea how
that's a game
thrilled
that
I'd
should
be.
ported just like
If-
that should be like the
and
first.
If I could
Sony's-
purchase those games, I don't know how many. I don't know how often I'd really be going
I paid
out to the store to buy.
$5 for that game. I only paid $5 for that game.
And if Sony's like really serious about how open they're going to leave it, they're jumping on early with the console. All Xbox or Microsoft has to do is do that with the Xbox. But that's something that he kept bringing up was, like, these indie games come out, and you can argue that some of these indie games are much better than
Some of them are.
some of them are. Like,
Amnesia is the best survival horror game
That
I've
is
ever
like
played.
when you think of like the indie scene, you think, well, Amnesia's the big one. Is like is one of the big
think about
ones.
it, we just said
Minecraft is like the best.
Is now.
I
that,
mean, I don't have it, but I have played it. Minecraft is the best creation game I've ever
I
played.
bought that game twice now.
I bought it on my phone.
I didn't buy it on my phone yet.
I don't want the Pocket Edition.
It's so much better now. You can. It sucked at first. It was like a proof of concept type game, and now it's Minecraft.
And here's something, like, we just did our favorite games. Mine was a downloadable indie game, the Limbo.
Yep.
That's what it was. It was a downloadable only Limbo indie game.
Now, Joe, it's funny you mentioned that because from what my personal opinion is on the most important game of this generation, it took me a lot of thought. Initially, I thought I had it down. I thought it was going
Sonic
to be
the Hedgehog.
Oh, well, definitely a classic. Who doesn't love Hedgehog on human female romance. Anyway,
Damn it.
Stop. Is that really story
yes,
element?
yes.
Oh my god.
Why do you think that? Have you seen John Tron's Sonic Team thing? Like, why do you think that is so ridiculous?
All right, now let's talk about good games,
Yes,
quality games,
things that are actually
not
games.
monstrosities. Anyway, mine was originally going to be the first Bioshock, and I put a lot of thought into it as to why it should be. But then you mentioned something about indie games, and it made me think of a game that did something that no other game has managed to do, and that is, to make me feel something, to really, really make me feel something, and that was Journey for me. So I think Journey is my personal choice for the most important game of the generation because it proved that you don't need violence to have an excellent game. You don't need to be hitting something or killing something to be an excellent game.
Or a huge budget.
You don't need voices. You don't need a high polygon count. You could take those polygons and create something beautiful, like they created with the desert in Journey.
The sand
and
looked awesome in that game.
There's no voices in that game. The story isn't told to you. It's just you're left on your own devices and you feel something. I played through that game 5 different times when I had a PS3, and I felt something every time I played through it. It didn't feel like I was just playing through it, going through it. It felt like I was going through this experience, and I had the way it did co-op, that made me completely rethink about how video games should do co-op. You go in, you're not told who your partner is. There's no voice chat. You're the traveler, and there's another traveler with you. You don't know who it is, and you don't communicate by talking. You communicate through these clicks and gesturing them to come over somewhere or to come to you. And it works so beautifully. The music, the visuals, the co-op, and the gameplay come together, it creates one of the most beautiful and pure gaming experiences I've ever had, and that's why I think it's the most important game of this console generation.
I've never played Journey.
It's an awesome game, and I like Journey memory real quick. One of the things I loved about it is I played through it the first time through, and I swore I was playing with the same guy the entire time, just the way it was all set up, and I felt like me and whoever I was playing with had this like connection the way we were doing puzzles. Then at the end of the game, it tells you who you played with. I played with 13 different people, and I was like, "Wow!" Like I had no idea.
That's really funny.
We interacted the same. Like we kind of chirped when we needed someone, or kind of like one person led the way or something. It was just like you said, the co-op experience was so well done in that game. And I played with 13 other people, and I thought I was playing with one guy or girl, whatever.
Person,
yeah.
I know, like, you can't tell the difference. That's what's great about it, like, you don't feel a connection to the person you're playing with. You feel a connection to the traveler. And that's what that game does amazingly, is it makes you feel something. And that's not something a lot of games can, really accomplish well. Yeah, but, a good example is Bioshock Infinite accomplished this to an extent, but not nearly to the extent that, Journey does. And Journey does it without people talking.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
It does it without voices.
Yeah, it's a really good game.
They won like 6 out of 11 awards at GDC or whatever.
They won a bunch of awards. IGN gave it its Game of the Year last year. That was a big deal because it was literally just a $15 download. And I think that's something that people are I hate the feeling because some of the best games I play are those $15, $20 downloadable titles.
The Walking Dead, another
Walking Dead's
example.
Fantastic. I love that game. And yet some people still have that mindset of like, oh, it's downloadable, it's not as good. And it's like, no, actually it's downloadable, and what?
And it's better than most games that are out now.
That Walking Dead game is $20, right?
And is like is on a completely different realm of existence than the other Walking Dead game, which costs $60.
$50.
You remember
$50. It doesn't cost.
Yeah, it costs $50. But I mean, like that's what we're entering we're gonna enter this next generation. We're gonna have, I think, the most competitive like system out there, definitely, because everything will be in the marketplace, like digitally.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna go on and you're gonna see, let's say, Walking Dead Season 2, and you could get all of them for $20, or you could go and get Assassin's Creed 4. Let's just assume it's not as good. It's not that good for $60. But people are gonna still say, "Oh, that's downloadable only. I'm buying Assassin's Creed 4 because it's the 4th Assassin's Creed, and this is just Walking Dead." And it's just like, oh.
I'm hoping the best part about this console generation, this upcoming generation, will be is that these amazing experiences that right now are only found on PC will come to consoles.
I think, like I said before, Sony's making it easier. Microsoft makes it easier. You're gonna have this very, like I said, very competitive field, and I feel like that's gonna adjust prices to games. Like the better games should cost more.
It's funny, think
The
about it.
crappier games should.
Who would have thought, when, say, like 2006, I'm sure we're going to think about it, like what the most important game of this console generation would have been when, like back in 2007, when all these huge games are coming out. And mine and Joe's are 2 indie games. Who would have ever thought that that would be the day?
Yeah, the 3 of us picked indie games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we
for
did.
best game that defined a genre, I'm the only one that picked a AAA game. My favorite's an indie game. They're most important. Yeah, it's funny, like when you think about it, like looking back, it's because who could have even thought that. That's what makes consoles so exciting. I think is because you can't predict what's going to happen. I mean, that's what makes like the new this new generation that's coming so interesting. Is that in 2 years it could be completely different. Maybe indie games will fade back away because the AAA games will rise back up, or the opposite. It's such a cool
evolution.
Yeah, evolution, and I don't know. I'm excited. Like that's what it is. I'm excited for the future.
Oh,
of
so
video
am I.
games.
So am I. I think this console generation was an overwhelming success. Like if I were to give this generation of consoles a grade, I would give it an A+ because there were so many important games to come out.
Yeah, like I don't know.
And the
I
way
could say so much more, but I don't want to.
also made this console generation also completely, it gave us a solid online infrastructure that we didn't have. Yeah, you had Xbox.
Half of it did.
You had
Yeah.
Xbox Live back in 2003 on the original Xbox, but it wasn't nearly as robust as it
wasn't.
is now.
Yeah, because you couldn't be in a game and cross chat.
And then Sony had an online support system
And they
for the
worked-
5 people
Yeah,
that used
and
it.
they've worked very hard to try and reimage that, and it's still people still look at it. My brother still looks at it and goes like, "Oh yeah, what is all your stuff getting hacked and you're not being able to play online?" And it's like, ha ha ha.
That was funny, when it happened.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's true that people still have that mindset. And
PSN is fantastic. Like now they have a fantastic online infrastructure that
except
can.
their crappy new store.
Oh yeah, I think that's awful, but I think now can almost rival Xbox Live.
Yeah, that's why we're going to be paying for it.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up because we, like I said, we could just talk forever about all these topics probably. But does anyone have any last things to say?
Nope.
No.
Okay, so that was episode 5 of Secret Level. Please, if you find this podcast and you like it, please leave us a review. We also have a YouTube page, Secret Level Gaming. We've been putting up videos all the time up there. So if you can subscribe to that, like the videos if you like them, leave a comment. We do respond to the comments.
Mm-hmm.
I try and make points of that. So
We're growing right now, and your feedback, your creative criticism really helps us.
all right, so I'm Joe.
I'm
Charlie.
Tom.
Oh, damn it, Tom.
Sorry,
That's how I see
Charlie.
it, that's how
Start it
happened.
again.
Okay, all right, round 2. I'm Joe,
I'm Tom.
And I'm Charlie.
and this was this week's Secret Level.
See you guys next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.